Anyway, so y'all, let's get into this chaos in this book. So yeah, we could finish this book and move on to another book or whatever. Give me a second, John, cleaning off my thing, that little thing. You know what I'm saying? Oops. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? So we started on the page, that we started where we left off at. Yeah, no. Recommend reading. And let's go. So I guess you could say we like I guess it's like halfway or part or almost halfway. And we'll almost finish the book really, cause it's not that big. And I basically folded on a page, that I'll be starting off on. So here we go, y'all. So we can finish this book. See me. Mm, again. Alright. We're gonna get like. Oh, matrix, baby. Oh, anyway. Well, let's get back into this book. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. Will and Isaac sat at Founders. Will was driving. I'm already messing up. Will was drinking a glass of breakfast, stout, and Isaac was too. Both brothers were nervous, but only Isaac had admitted to it on yeah, but only Isaac had admitted to it on the car ride over to the brewery. The cig felt heavy in Will's jacket, but not like it had when they'd gone to Jason's tattoo shop. If anything, it felt like a keyboard to a writer or a hammer to a carpenter. Carpenter. It was like, oh shit, I was about to read the same bit. It was a tool necessary for the right sort of job. Fucking here we keep getting on. Okay. It was a tool necessary for the right sort of job. Isaac was carrying as well a small 9mm that will Will had picked up as a summer carry piece. If he ever got around to taking a concealed carry class, they were yeah, they were at a table near the rear of the brewery, figuring that Jason would be able to find them even if they'd try to hide from him. The building itself was packed. Most of the table Most of the tables, about 20 in all, were occupied, and the 50 seat bar had ho, ho, and the 50 seat bar had Nori Nari, a single empty stool. Conversations roared, and Will understood why Jason had picked this place, even if it seemed like the last sort of bar that he would ever hang out in on his own. It was perfect with the varied tables of oddly mixed groups. They wouldn't stand out in the least. Jason appeared out of nowhere. He just sat at their table with a pint of a beer that was dark, though not as dark as their own. Dirty bastard, he said. The beer, not you two folks. He funny as shit. So the beer is called Dirty Bastard. Never, never had it, but it sounds about right. Considering circumstances, he took a long pull from the glass, draining half of it and then placing it on the table. How how are things, gents? Lovely, said Will. What have you got for us? Don't be a fucking idiot, Jason said, wearing a smile like he just met with two old friends. I can't fucking tell you right here. You see those two assholes over there? Jason nodded at two hip what hip hipsterish hipsterish kids standing in a glassed in box just outside of the bar. One of them had rimmed glasses, horn rimmed glasses, a handlebar mustache, and a a worn messenger bag with an apple patch sewn onto it. The other looked about the same, just different. What affectations? But and affectations, a fedora vest and neon green scarf. Both men were texting on iPhones. I see them. Well, when they finish their smokes, we're going to what saunter on over there into the smoke box. So we good. Uh, hold up. Smoke box. So my good buddies won't let me get a won't let me get lonely while I puff on a butt. On a butt. What? Alright. This they words. The what they this wording is like it's getting me. Okay. Sound good. Will and Isaac both nodded, and all three men drank from their glasses of beer. The beer was good and made Will, yeah, yeah, and made Will's head hum a little, but he didn't feel the urge to consume vase what vessels of it. I don't fucking know, y'all. Either. As if one what I keep saying one and it keep getting dark. Hold on, let me back up. Cause I hate when they do that. And just let me know y'all can't really fucking see me. Hold on. Turn my chair. It's like dark. It's getting dark. It's getting oh shit. Sorry for all the noise. I'm trying to fix my shits. You know. Okay, so got a pillow on me. For me to lean back on. Alright. Alright. Y'all good? Y'all good? We good? All us good? Alright. Alright. Where was I? Okay, as if on cool. I wanna say that's cool. Okay. Okay. The hipsters left the smoking area, and Will, Isaac, and Jason left their beers on the table to walk to the room. Will, hold up, Will held the door open for his brother and his old friend, and then followed them in. Okay, this is going to be short and sweet, said Jason. I got a name. This fuck who likes young cooch. Guy named Mumbo. What is a fat Hispanic kid? What kind of name is Mumbo? Isaac asks. That's hold up. What kind of name is Mumbo? Isaac asks. That's seriously weird. Show is, but Mumbo is the one that he did all the killing at the bank by himself, while the other two was in the damn vault taking the money. And then yeah, but okay, and he's a fucking hothead, so he don't need to be doing shit like this. But okay, it's the kind of name that either a junkie. It's the kind of name either a junkie. It's the kind of name. Uh, it's the kind. It's the kind of name that either a junkie whore mother gives you or one of your buddies give you. Does it fucking matter? God goes by Mumbo. And I know for a fucking fact that he was there. And what an electric hum had kicked in. Had kicked up in Will, and Jason eyed him like he could see it. Now, don't get crazy thoughts going. I don't know if he was the one that aced your boy, or if he even knew what even knew that was part of the plan when it happened. Maybe you both have forgotten, but things can change on a job, like getting sucked off by a 16-year-old. Isaac said. The little glass room took on a different hum then. They all took turns looking at each other. Will imagined blood splattering the glass. books. What? Oh, buckets. Buckets of it. Isaac spoke first, his voice hoarse, hoarse and quiet, like he couldn't quite believe he'd what blurted that out. Come on, Will, he said. Let's get out of here before we can't. That said, Jason, smoke blowing from his nostrils is what they call one. If you hold up, if I mean shit, I keep saying if. Hold up, is hold up, is that? Oh no, I'm sorry. Is what they call one. You just got your all-time feel of taking digs at me. You do it again, I'll I will fucking beat you to death. Right here in front of all of these nice people. I can't see any of them stopping me or stopping me leaving when I'm done. I'll be back in my shop with some pale and my chair in 15 minutes, and if anybody asks, I'll have I'll what if anybody asks, I'll have been there all evening. You're fine. We're fine, Jason said Will. What's the plan? Jason drew in another long, slow lungful of smoke, still looking at Isaac like he was cataloging the variety, the various abuses he would be visiting upon him. Then he exhaled and said, I'm going to finish my smoke, then we're going to go in, finish our beers, and Isaac is going to settle our tab. He turned a sweet smile on Isaac. Don't say shit, brother. Remember, you already got your one to both of them, he said. After that, we're going to go to Mumbles in whatever car you two took here, and we're going to ask him some questions. His answers will tell us what to do next. You mean where to go? No, to decide if he got anything to tell us first or if we just kill him right away. Damn. Okay. Isaac drove, Will sat next to him, and Jason was crammed into the back seat. Will had offered his seat up front to Jason, but he just smiled and declined. Now with almost certainly armed man with a black pass sitting behind him, Will understood the direction. I mean, Will understood the decision. Not, not that he could imagine why Jason would have any reason to fear them. It was probably just habit, like how old West gunslinger slammed a door to a doorway. They were silent in the car, with Jason giving occasional directions. He had he had he had them staying off the highway and moving into the southwest side of the city, far from the robbery, at least as far as Grand Rapids was concerned, but really only about a 20-minute car ride. Jason directed them onto a side street off Ivan which led them to the type of unidentifiable neighborhood that littered that littered Kent County. Only the cars have fancy, have rolling rust were proof that it had been turned from a thriving suburb to a near ghetto of foreclosed upon houses, turning to rental turning to rental property. Stop here, said Jason, and Isaac did. Jason handed the brothers leather gloves and put on a pair himself. Will exited the car first, with Jason after him. After a moment, Isaac followed. After a moment, Isaac followed. Jason walked to the back of the car, and Will watched him grab a handful of wet snow wet and smush it onto Isaac's yeah and smush it onto Isaac's um license plate. When he was finished, Jason walked from the car and nodded toward a house. That one, he said. It was a non nondescript descript yeah nondescript house with white aluminum siding. The house could have used some work, but wasn't nearly half bad off as some of the other ones in the neighborhood. There was an old Ford truck parked in the driveway. Will had only a fleeting moment to wonder just how sure Jason was about this being the right house before he was following his friend across the street with Isaac at his heels. Jason had a pistol in his gloved hand, not the revolver from the tattoo shop. Some sort of small automatic with Will didn't I mean automatic that Will didn't recognize. The the night was pitch black. The only light coming from houses of and the moon and the snow picked up all of it. Cast modal auto hold on. I'm sorry, hold on. Cast auto hold up. I'm keep skipping a line, my bad, y'all. Casting it in odd reflections, there were the sounds of their foot automobiles streets away, and the call and response of suburbia. One dog barking, another howling back and forth. Will notice all of it and none of it. His his world running black and red between fear and anger. When Will's feet hit the driveway, he took the cig from its place in the holster, but kept it close to his body. Jason walked to the door. Will was ready. Will was readying himself, waiting for him to knock or ring the buzzer, when Jason kicked the door in and barreled into the house, his pistol up, fighting every instinct that he forced onto himself over the past 20 odd years. Will followed him, his adrenaline like nothing he'd experienced since he was a teenager. The first thing Will saw was Jason holding his pistol on a soft man on a couch with his hands high in the air. The man the man who looked like he was still covered in baby fat was was wearing a headset hooked to an Xbox 360 controller. He had been playing some war game, a shooter, on the coffee table. Hold up. Some war game or shooter. On the coffee table in front of him was finished 40 a half finished 40 of Mickey's malt liquor, a smoldering blue translucent bone, a soft pack of camel lights, and overflowing ashtray, a plate with half of a sandwich on it, a bottle of throat spray. What the hell? Zcam, cough drops, and three thick stacks of banded $50 bills. The man winced when Jason tore the headsets from his ears. Having having the door closed behind them was thunder in the room. The only other noise coming from the TV, coming from the television. Are you Mumbo? You cunt? Jason asked the man, and the fat man was nodding. Will Will realizing as he did so that one of his Will realizing as he did at hold up as he did so that one of his raised hands was still holding the 360 controller, the headphones dangling from it. I I asked you a question, said Jason. Yes or no? Are you Mumbo? The man tried to speak but failed the first time. He tried again, this time managing to torse managing a torn sounding yes. You have exactly no lies left, said Jason, pushing his pistol into Mumbo's face. Is there anything else here? Is there anyone else here? No. Everyone, anyone coming soon? No. Perfect. Is there anyone else here? No. Anyone coming soon? No. Perfect. We have some things to discuss. The television was turned up loud, still just Mumbo's game, but oh yeah. Mumbo's game, but roaring with war sounds now. Luckily, most of those sounds were gunshots and swearing. Mumbo's wrists were bound with stripe with stripes from the shirt Jason had torn off him. His ankles were bound as well, those to a chair Jason had taken from the kitchen. Atop the chair's seat, the chair's seat and under Mumble's fat ass was a plastic bowl that Jason had also found in the kitchen. He had shoved three steak knives down through the bottom of it, then flipped the bowl upside down. The more Mumble's weight pushed down on the upside down bowl, the more the bowl flattened and the deeper the knives went into Mumbo. Mumbo's ass was bleeding and the blood was pooling slowly under the chair. His mouth had been stuffed with what was left of his shirt, and the big man was crying. Will felt sick over what was happening, but kept remaining himself. He concentrated on his job. Will held Mumbo's finger on the right trigger bottom. I mean, on the right trigger button. Jason had told him that if Jason had told him that if Mum was he was to pull the trigger and make the TV loud. Jason sat in a chair opposite Mumbo. Jason's gun was resting on his knee, and Will stood behind him. Isaac was still waiting in the doorway. At least Jason gave a look to his watch and said, all right, that's 10 minutes. He stood and stepped to Mumbo, which made the big man begin to twitch with fear, but rather than furthering terrorism, I mean, but rather than further terrorizing the man, Jason had Will join him, and together they eased Mumbo and his chair down onto the floor. The the point of the blade still stuck to him, but the bowl was lifted from the seat of the chair, and Will watched Mumbo's eyes lull as the pain began to dissipate. Dissipate. After all right, said Jason as he removed Mumbo's gag. I mean, as he removed Mumbo's gag, I told you one rule already, so you know not to lie. Here's rule number 2. Do not fucking speak unless spoken to. Rule number 3, if you get loud, You will die badly. Jason stood, leaving Mumbo lying on the floor and stuck to the chair. One one last thing, all right? All right, buddy. There is a bonus round. Assuming you play nice in the opening ones. I'm not going to make any promises on that, though. Are you ready? Yes, said Mumbo in his re- wrecked voice. I'm sorry. Na- Nasty throat you've got there, buddy. Wixom, yeah, Wixom said, remember rule one now? Remember rule one now. That's not just a code, is it? Mumbo just looked at him. Gasoline fire, I'm guessing. Jason said, hurts like a fucker, doesn't it? Makes the throat raw. Beyond beyond raw. If you're close when it goes up. Makes it makes it feel like running a comb through, yeah, makes it feel like running a comb through hot pizza. It's a fucking wreck. You been near a gas fire recently, Mumbo? The big man shook his head and Jason stood his own head. I mean, and Jason shook his own head back as Will watched Jason kick the upturned bottom of the chair as hard as he could, forcing the plastic bowl against the seat and the bowl with its attached knives into Mumbo. Will pulled the trigger, and what California had decided a a .50 caliber gun fired in the desert sounded like roared through and over the scream. Shit, said Jason. That is no way to enter a bonus round. It is a surefire violation of rule no, numero uno, and is going to make me have to challenge everything else you know and force the using the handle will pull the trigger again and pretend gunfire roared through the very real battlefield inside of the house while Mumbo whimpered and the knives slid out. Damn, said Jason, we are off to a bad start. Last question again. Were you recently around a gas fire that burned the fuck out of your throat? Yes, mumbled Quick. Were you recently involved in a robbery? Keeping in mind I can still see the fucking stacks on the table. Yes. Did you kill someone during that robbery? Yeah, man, I did. Sputtered Mumbo, blood pooling on the floor under him. They hired you guys, didn't they? Someone who knew that little girl that died, right? I shot the fuck out of that place. Chris said it wasn't a regular one, that we should make it memorable. I didn't know I smoked a kid until we got home. I do I do not give a fuck about a little kid. Do you believe me? Yes. Was there a man with you named Alex during that robbery? Yes. Good answer, Mumbo. Did you kill him? Ooh, is you gonna lie or you gonna tell the truth? No. Last chance to avoid a real bad death, a really bad death. I'm thinking I hate your what? Oh shit! Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. I'm thinking I hate your clever me. Fine, said Jason. I want you to tell me everything about Alex dying. Jason nodded the chair. Jason nudged the chair back toward Mumbo. Will pulled the trigger on the 360 controller again as Mumbo screamed, then even though the knives were inches from his ass. Seriously, buddy, tell me everything. Shit, be selfish. Shit, be selfish. Do it for you. You have no friends left in this world, Mumbo. It was, it was supposed to be simple, Mumbo said, glubbering. I mean, blubbering. Sorry, y'all. I don't know how the fuck I got blubbering. Okay, Mumbo said, blubbering, but visibly trying to claim to visibly trying to calm himself. Chris called me and said we had a job to do. I was happy. I'd blown through all of the money we had on the last one. Well, almost all of it. Do you want to know about the last one? No, Will said, surprisingly surprising himself by talking. We want to know about this one. When did Chris call you? I don't know. A week before we did the job. Go on, Jason said. What happened next? Shit, Mumbo said. Nothing. Like I said, Chris told me he wanted me for a job and that our friend Rob was going to drive. He's done that for us before. And that Alex was going to be there too. I didn't hear from Chris again until the day before we pulled the job on that yeah, pulled the job on that bank. Him, Alex, and Rob just showed up like it was no big thing. Chris gave me, Chris gave me this little AK that he said he wanted me to use on the job. And I said something like, isn't that a little much? But Chris said, no. The fence wanted the fence wanted a sure thing. Better to better too much gun than too little, I guess. Usually they say a shooting on a job like that gets so much heat that they want nothing to do with the shit you stole in the first place. But I didn't hear none of that. We didn't really talk about much. I mean, we didn't talk much about it though. Rob had a bunch of weed and we just sat here, man, drinking and smoking, passing out and waking up. We ate some breakfast at IHOP, then rode to the job. Everything went good in the bank, I guess, or the way it was supposed to. I mean, I'm not a hard ass like Chris. I've killed people before, but I never really wanted to. Chris had seen Chris had seen us all kill people before though. Hold on, Will said all three sets of eyes in the room turning to him. You're saying I so oh you're saying Alex was a murderer? Shit, yes, said Mom. Chris had him kill one of my regular pieces of ass before. Chris was tweaked on meth and thought she might be snitching. D was a good lay too. Hold on, what? D was a good lay too. That was a waste. We even turned her out on the bank manager too. Shit, killing her was a total bummer. Chris had Alex kill her with the same gun that he killed Alex with. Will could feel the blood rushing through his eardrums and he steadied himself. The girl Alex had murdered was the one Van Endel had told him about. Cassidy, the 16-year-old killed with that shotgun pistol. The judge. How do I know you're telling the truth? Will said. How do I know you didn't kill her? I am not going to lie, said Mumbo, using his eyes to indicate Jason. I'd tell you if I did. What? I killed the kid in the bank. I told you that. I I tell you enough of this shit, said hold up. He said I'd tell you. Okay, enough of this shit, said Jason. Fill in the rest of the Mumble was telling the truth. I mean Mumbo was telling the truth. Alex had murdered a young girl for no reason other than that he was told to. Okay, Mumbo said. So we get up, get our shit together, lock and load, all that movie shit. We drive out there, me and Chris in the back of the van, Alex and Rob up front. Chris was telling us the details again, which we were all fucking sick of hearing. Do this job, get paper, get the fuck out. Rob's the driver, I'm the guard. Chris and Rob are going in the vault. The hold up. If Rob is the driver, how the fuck is he going in the vault? Well, okay, hold on. Chris and Rob are going in the vault. The manager is in on it. when he leaves, that's the sign to go in. Over and over, he's saying this shit, man. It was boring. Anything did anything go sideways in the bank? Jason asks. The Mumbo, Jason asks, and Mumbo shook his head. What other than putting lead to some putting lead to so many people for no fucking reason? That was a little sideways. Okay, but they were screaming and freaking out. Thing led to another, and after Chris and Alex came out of the vault, Rob pulled the truck around and to the drop. we went to the drop. Chris, Rob, and Alex had been there a bunch of times, but I hadn't. It was it was an old farm with a barn that looked like a stiff breeze would knock over. They they stashed another car there so we could ditch the van. Cops are dumb, you know. They hear about a van. That's all they can think about for like 10 hours. Like when you see one of those Amber Alerts for some kidnapped baby. All the nigga has to do is switch cars and he's good for like a day. Anyways, we do the job, get back to the barn, and we're taking the bags of money from the van to the car. Alex said something to Chris. I couldn't hear what, and then Chris shot him. It was loud as fuck. I come out the van thinking the law was coming in. I got my AK up and Chris is just standing. Shit. And Chris is just standing over Alex like half of Alex's head just is just gone. Me and Rob are standing on either side of Chris like what the fuck? And he just told us to keep moving the shit. When we were done, Rob pulled the car out and Chris and I covered Alex and the van with gas. I was a little close when it went up. Fire stuck. I mean, fire fire sucked the lungs right out of my chest. That's a damn good job, Mumbo, said Jason. But these next few questions are very, very important. I want short to the point answers and telling me that you don't know where somebody lives or that you'll have to show us. That's not going to work. Not today. I know that by now I'll I'll be as straight as I can. Are Chris and Rob both still alive? As far as I know, they were both here last night. Where does Rob live? About 5 miles away. From about 5 miles from here. He's off of Ivan Rest too. Momo told them the address, and Jason jotted it down in a small notebook. Where does Chris live? Gonna you ain't gonna like this man, but I've been straight with you. I don't know. He stays with his mama, and none of us was ever over there. Not ever. You're the right. I mean, you're right. I don't like it. Not one bit. Mumbo cringed, readying for the shot, readying for the gunshot was tense on the other deluge, I don't know, of imaginary bullets into the wind. But you know what? I believe you. One last question. Anything else you can tell me about this fence? Oh man, nothing. Mumbo considered that before continuing. Actually, man, I know one thing, but it won't do you any good. I'll be the judge of that. Tell me. Chris was never scared of anybody, but whoever that fence was, they scared the fuck out of him. Chris spent Oh, they scared the fuck out of him. Jason nodded nothing what nothing what Mumbo had told him then took a drew I mean it took a dual I don't know rod and a length cord from his jacket pocket. Will watched him make a loop in the cord and run the duel through it before his eyes got as he sat on the now violently struggling Momo was screaming, thrashing about clean, but Jason got the got the noose over his neck, and Jason began twisting the dual, tightening the noose. Will kept firing the gun on the TV as Mumbo died, even when he was through screaming. A coldness was coming over Will. His son had died for no reason at all. Just gunned down like a dog I mean, just down like a dog by one of his awful friends. And that was that. Damn. No, that's not good enough. I need to know why. I need a reason. I cannot just walk away from this without an answer. Will consider Allison's words, the steel in her voice when she told him to find the men who did this, and he thought he thought of that he thought of that night so many years before when he first laid eyes upon his boy. Will was drunk, returning that summer night from a bonfire held out in a G sponsor park. The party, of course, had not been sponsored. There'd been a ton of good grass, lots of booze, and chicks who were down even been there, and Alex almost never went. Walking home, Will felt miraculous. At first, after Patty disappeared, things had been really shitty. But with the number of available girls in the world, it was hard to imagine why he'd been. why'd he ever, even been upset in the first place. She was cool, but she was gone. Truth told, truth told, he wasn't even sure why his mind kept going back to her. Patty had been cool for a while, always there when he wanted her to be, and always gone when he wanted her to be. And he went and almost gone when he wanted her to. I mean, and always gone when he wanted her gone. It was enough to almost miss her, but then she'd gotten clingy after Jason and a few for breaking into that some nasty shit about Jason after that had happened. Some girl who was there below him when she was supposed to be gone. Didn't think Jason had it in him. Okay, besides, they were still only in county with the real trials yet to even get going. Okay, still the kind of trouble they were in was sobering, or would have been to someone less committed to the idea of getting fucked up every night, even for a young drunk like him. He had he had been enough to con- he had been enough to convince him to maybe slow down a little. After all, he was supposed to have been with them that and thing that year. Breaking and take anything not nailed down more in television stereos. They was never much there was never much money in it, though. The pawnbrokers, they the country of the county, sometimes even out of the state, just without the law coming down and changing my angle so it won't keep getting dark. This has irritating. Okay. All right. Okay. Night had been different though. When he got called from Jason about when he got the call from Jason about the job a few days before, robbing a house while the family was on vacation. Will had been all about it. It wasn't until later, after the rest of them had gotten busted after a neighbor saw them, that Will questioned why he hadn't been there, not feeling like that. Not feeling like that night wasn't a good enough reason, but it was all he had. Still, there, but hold up. Still, There needed to be more. No one just about lucky like that, did they? Or was or was that the way the hold up? Or was that the way the adult world hold up, or was that okay, yeah, I was right. Or was that the way the adult world really worked? A a random hold up, a random what what succession of either good or bad breaks that could even with could end with you doing life in Jackson uh, or or becoming the biggest rock star on the planet. That Still, that had been the difference. He'd stay home with Patty and comedies on the VCR watched comedies on the VCR. Police, police academy, and one of the flicks. one of the vacation flicks, but he didn't even have a good reason for it. He just knew that he didn't want to go. He was on the stoop of his house when he first heard the crying. It sounded like a baby was with I mean they had no relatives with infants, and it was almost 4 in the morning. So somebody just stopping by was an impossible notion. Opening the door. Okay, hold on. Opening the door quietly, Will couldn't help but notice that the crying was only getting louder. He pulled the door closed behind him, letting it ease into the frame, and walked into their family home. In their family room. It wouldn't have been normal for his parents to leave the television on, but there was a first time for everything. Walking into the room, Will was stopped dead in his tracks. His mother was sitting on a, I mean, on, yeah. His mother was sitting on a, the couch. What? Y'all, this they fucking words, and it making me sound retarded. But these they are words. Like what? They sound dumb as fuck. Okay, the couch across the room from the television, holding an infant in her arms, trying. It looked like to Will anyway to calm it down. She was having limited success. Mom, Will slurred. What the hell is going on? She patted the space next to her on the sofa, and Will sat binding, binding, binding by his mother in that way that is nearly impossible to resist. This, she said after Will had sat, is Alex. He's your son. The baby had started to cool when Will sat forgotten, tears running down his impossibly tiny cheeks. My son? Who said that? Patty did. That girl you used to date, she said that he was either yours or another's boy that she used to go around with. Jason, I think. She said that the other boy was in a lot of trouble and that her son needed a father. What did Dad say? Your father has to work in the morning, as you know, and is sleeping with earplugs in. He does not know about Jason, and he is never going to. No one needs to know about that except for you and me. This is your son, and you're going to raise him right, like I raised you. I mean, about me having, about me having a kid. What did he say? Your father was taken aback, as as was I, but he'll come around just like I did. He may pull you aside and have a little talk, but I put my foot down. I said, "This boy, this boy is a Daniels, right? This boy is a Daniels, your first grandson, and you may never get another one. He knows that I mean it too. We we are going to raise this boy together until we get your head straight and get a place for the two of you to live." Will found himself staring at the baby, unsure of what to say. The boy definitely favored Patty, and they certainly had enough unprotected sex that it was possible. But what about the other stuff? His mom had said, what, what if the boy wasn't his? What kind of life was that, raising another man's child while the other guy just got to go off and do whatever he wanted? That considered, Jason was probably going to prison. It was a foregone conclusion to most in their circle of friends. Mom, when did Patty say she was coming back? Will, his mother his mother said slowly. Patty isn't coming back. This boy is only going to have a decent life if we can give him one. You might not feel like this father yet, but you might not feel like his father yet, but you will. Give it time. Give him time. He's your son, my grandson. He's a Daniels. Isaac was still standing in the doorway when Jason tapped Will on the shoulder. You can stop shooting now. Will took his finger controllers off the controller's um trigger, then sat down the controller. Jason gave him a look, they so he stuck the thing in his jacket pocket before reholstering reholstered holstering the stick. The three walked to the car in a group. The three walked to the car in a group, and when Isaac began to choke on a mouthful of vomit, Jason took the keys from his hand him and threw him head first behind the wheel. Why in the fuck did you make me park in my car? What? Isaac screamed. Isaac screamed at Jason, vomit dripping from his mouth and covering his lip. I mean his lap. And and the steering wheel. Jason looked at Isaac from the passenger seat, smiled, and slapped then slapped him hard enough to spray the book from his lips. Back seat now. Thought for thought for sure it was all going to unravel now. He had just watched a man be tortured and then strangled to death. And not only he he stood by and watched, but some small and very cruel part of him had enjoyed it. Hadn't hadn't Mumbo been there with Alex, hadn't Mumbo been there with Alex, he had, and if they were really friends, he would have killed Chris for shooting Alex, and none of this would have had to happen. You feel better now? Jason asked Isaac, and Will was shocked to Will was shocked to see his older brother nodding. Oh my god, he slapped me before. Slapped me before we just killed. You slapped me because we just killed a guy and the cops. Nay, exactly now. Roll down the windows and give. And exactly now. Roll down the windows and drive to a gas station. I'll tell you when to turn. It's it's freezing back here with the windows down. Will yelled called and Jason called back, can you still smell the puck? I'm not playing. They call throw up puck. Realizing that he couldn't, or at least not as much, Will kept his mouth shut for the rest of the ride. 2 minutes later, and one flash light, they pulled into a marathon station. You you guys stay put. I'm going to get some towels so we can get some of the sick off of you, and then you can go in the bathroom and wash up. Jason left the car, and the two brothers watched him walk inside to talk to the cashier. Are you okay, dude? Will said it in a way that he thought off- might not be too offensive, but he could tell my he could tell by Isaac's tone that he had failed. No, no, I'm not okay. I'm covered in puck. I feel like I've got a loose tooth from where he slapped me. and we could be charged with torturing and murdering that man. Not to mention, I think we have to. If you ask me, I mean, if you ask Jason, he'll say the same thing. Right now, we got the element of surprise. Jason Jason he'll say the same thing, right? I mean, he'll say the same thing. Right now, we've got the element of surprise. The cops aren't looking for us, and neither are the bad guys. I have a feeling that everything will stop after we find this Chris guy. Which his mouth, they could see Jason returning to the car with a full of paper towels, a a lit cigarette hanging from his lip. Isaac got out and Jason handed him the towel, then went around to the passenger side and stood next to the car smoking. Of the puck scrape, I mean, yeah, scraped off, scraped, I don't know, scraped off of Isaac and the dashboard. Jason handed him the key and pointed to him over there. Jason said, "We'll watch Isaac leave." Will did and stood beside him. Jason gave him a look, and Will said, "What? What?" Will said, "What was it as bad as you thought?" No, I mean, no, yes, I don't know. I was terrible. It was terrible, but even though he was kind of a funny guy, Mumbo shot up a bank for no reason other than that he was asked to do so. That's some serious. That's some seriously psychopath psychopathic shit. Yeah, it takes a certain type of individual to do something like that. Most of the guys I've known, even the really bad ones, wouldn't have done that unless they absolutely had to. And it never would have been part of the rules going in. To be frank, it's a really stupid plan and doesn't make any sense. Makes me excited to talk to Chris and Rob. What if? And I just noticed the Mumbo guy, he explained it different than the beginning when they first said something about the robbery. Rob was driving. Rob was driving. Chris and Mumbo was in the lobby. He the one that shoot the fuckers, which was right. That part was right. But he said, but when Mumbo explained it, he said that Chris and Rob was in the vault and Alex was shooting it up and shot somebody. Go back, rough men. You gonna hear me say about, at the beginning when the robbery went down, of who was in the vault, who did the shooting, and who was the driver and shit. Mumbo, I think, is lying on somebody. I don't know, because he the one that was in the lobby shooting up everybody. Yeah, I'm confused. But let's finish. We're gonna finish this little. All right, we're gonna. All right, I got like two more pages for this, and then we're gonna stop right there. All right. Where was I? Okay, Mumbo shot up a bank for no reason other than, oh no, I've read that. Yeah, it it takes a certain, oh yeah, I already read that too. Okay, what if they're not together? Mumbo said that no one knows where Chris lives. No matter what you're doing, there is always a solution to a problem, even if that solution turns out to be folding instead of going all in. I have a feeling that Chris will be there. The question, and one I was worried about when we went to Mumbo's, is what your brother is going to do if we actually need his help. We got the drop on Mumbo pretty easily, but if we got if we don't get the drop on these next two idiots, he could be a serious what he could be a serious liability li what liability. I thought I thought one of you might freeze, but was worse than frozen. He was trying to wish his way out of that room. And remind you, Jason dropped the cigarette to the ground and crushed with it. And when is, he has he hasn't already called Mumbo. He will soon, guarantee, but he'll wonder when he doesn't get an answer. Is it going to be able to do this or not? Yeah, so we don't need him, but if he comes in, he needs to know that he needs to be there one 100%. And like Blizzard, I mean, had been washed away. Jason and Will in the front seat. Isaac got behind the wheel. The hubcap and key were sitting right there in his lap. Isaac began opening his car, and Jason said, "No, give it to me. Better than another. Better than only see. Better they only see one of us." He took it from Isaac, left the car, what and and saw it turn. I don't know, back to the gas station. Are we going to the next house? Isaac asked, and Will said, "Yes. Can you handle that?" "Yeah, I can. First time was just bad. This will be easier, right?" I wouldn't count on it. I took them. It took them a while to get to Rob's house, but this this street and Mumbo's were clones of one another, and Will wondered how big eerily these similar uh these eerily similar suburbs were. The address had the address they had for Rob matched the one on a gray matched the one on a gray house that needed paint, and Isaac parked a few houses away. There were two cars in the driveway, and the street was by littered by vehicles, many more than what they seen at Mumbo's. "No freezing up this time," said Jason. "None of that shit, you busted your cherry, and this time needs to go better. There are either a lot of people sharing houses here, or someone is having a party now. I'm sure she have been here instead of playing video games, but if stops from his lungs and said yes, Isaac just nodded. It must have looked more impressive in the front than it did to Will, because Jason returned the nod with one of his own, just like just like the last time. He said, Jason, I'll go first. You guys come in right after me. Remember, remember, just like you saw me do to Mumbo, it's all about the first 15 seconds. If you shudder their confidence, they'll let you do just about anything. With that, they left the car, just as just as he had the last time, though even without even bothering to look at what Jason was doing. Will had his pistol out and pressed to his side. There were fewer house lights on then when they gone into Mumbles, but the street felt more alive. Will followed. It had a high waist wall, and could feel Isaac behind him, and the sound of loud rap music was coming from the house. As Jason kicked the door in, Will could hear a girl laughing. Rob House walking in behind the way, sitting on a fifth. Okay. The rap was much louder than it had been outside, booming, and there was a loud thumping noise coming from upstairs. More music. Finally, when they were, but finally when they were yards from him, the man opened his eyes, lift her head up, and said to him, "What the fuck?" to his mouth to say, "Shh." The girl began to scream. The man jumped off the couch, throwing the girl away from him like a doll as he dove into the floor toward a pair of jeans lying next to the couch. Jason and Will hit him in the back, the other removing a piece of thigh. Oh, the other removing a piece of thigh. Yeah. The girl was still The girl was still screaming, and Jason walked to her and hit her on the top of her head with his pistol, collapsing her to the floor instantly. Another gun went off, and both Will and Jason jumped, Will's eyes darting around the room, finally noticing the hole in the side of the man. Oh, finally noticing the hole in the side of the man on the floor's head. He was still going for his gun, explaining Isaac, I had to I had to. You did good, Jason said, then grabbed the dead man by the hair and began riffling through his jeans, taking a cell phone from one of the pockets and stuffing it into his own pocket. Find something and tie her up. Gag her too. Do a good job, but do it fast. If you get the chance, try and find. If you get the chance, try and find the shell casings. Will come with me, walking quickly, pistol held aloof. Jason left the room, sparring. Yeah, I sparring his brother a look. Will turned his sig at the ready and followed Jason into a black hallway, the thumping noise from upstairs audible before when even with the music had stopped. They had their way they had their way swiftly from the what quietly I don't know for your I don't know for your living room and followed and walked into a kitchen. The only light source coming from a single bulb hanging from a string. There were three doors in the kitchen, one of them clearly leading to the backyard. Jason opened one of the other doors, stuck his gun into the blackness and covered his shoulder. Will could see descending stairs. Jason left the first door open and slowly began to open the second. The stairs in that one went up, and there was a single door at the top of the stairs. At the top of the steps. Jason took the phone that he'd stolen from the dead man's pants of, out of his pocket and to do something with it. Will couldn't tell exactly what, and then he put it to ear and began to ascend the stairs. When the sound of a ringing phone came to them, barely barely audible over the thumping bass, and spoken what bravado. Jason and Will ran up the stairs, Jason kicking the door open, both of their guns up and ready. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. There was a skinny white kid in the room holding a large stainless steel revolver, but he was pointing it at door. Distracted by by that god of the what modern era. His ringing cell phone on the bed. Behind him were two girls, one white and one black. All three of them were naked, just just loud enough to be heard over the rap, and with both of their guns trained on I mean, it was hard to see him as anything but a kid. Jason said, "Drop the gun or you're dead. Do it now." There was a moment of hesitation, and the kid dropped the gun to the floor. "Girls, off the bed," Jason said, turning his gun at the black one as Will kept his own shaped shaped barrel on the kid. You first," Jason commanded, pistol still on the black girl. "Go downstairs and do it slowly. My partner down there has an has an itchy itchy trigger finger. You'll want to ask him if you can come in." The girl slid off the bed and bent slowly to retrieve an article of clothing from the floor. She was beautiful. Did I tell you to get did I tell you to get your shit? Get your ass down there." The girl just shrugged, and Jason's pistol followed her until she was down the stairs and gone. The kid smiled thinly at Will as the girl left, looking at his gun, then at Will as though trying to show that he hadn't lost all control of the situation. Jason pointed his pistol at the blonde white girl on the bed. She looked furious. "You look like you want to do something very stupid," Jason said to her. "If you if you oh yeah, if you try and do that stupid thing, I will kill you. I know that you might think I'm bluffing, that my partner and I won't shoot you, but we will. We will end your little meaninglessly meaningless meaningless sorry. We will end your little meaningless life and then go out for pancakes and never give you another thought." The girl looked The girl, looking even angrier now, slid slowly off the bed. Will kept his eyes on the kid, who was making it obvious that he was going to try for the gun at his feet, the gun that he had very likely used to kill Will's Will's um Will's resolve and grip on the pistol went back to iron went back to iron how he'd been before. Mumbo, if the kid could see the difference, he wasn't showing it. "Get your ass downstairs," said Jason to the angry girl, "and if my partner isn't ready for you, sit on the fucking couch so he doesn't have to kill anyone else tonight." The kid just kept smiling. When the girl was gone, Jason walked to the kid's revolver, picked it up, and handed it to Will. Both of their guns back on the kid. Will felt numb with the gun in his hand. The gun was the gun that had very likely killed his son. He wanted to kill Chris and leave, but that wasn't enough. Not yet. Not even close. "Chris," Jason said. The kid smiled, crumbling at the sound of his name. We need to talk, buddy. Rob is dead downstairs, and I had to kill Mumbo just to find you guys. Now, first things first. Jason went on. Our man downstairs is going to hustle your ladies into the basement, and then we're going to go for a little ride. Make sure isn't coming after those gunshots. Just my two buddies, me, and Jason shook his head and smacked across the face with his pistol, likely breaking his nose and dropping him down to the basement. I need to tie up this motherfucker's wrist. Sure that Jason could manage Chris easily enough and headed down the steps, crossing first through the kitchen and then emerging into the living room. Will thought the situation felt surreal, like something in his. Hey, what was I? Okay. Will had Isaac had the three girls on the couch, though the first one, the one Will had hit on the head, was still unconscious and sitting in a pile of piss with her gag lying on her breast. Rob was seen him and still quite dead. We need to get these girls in the basement, Will said. The two, I mean, you two are, you two that are still mobile, get your asses moving. Find something to tie them to. Right, all right. Sure thing, said Isaac, and as he spoke, Will found himself hoping not for the slip up and use each other's names. Get a get get your butts in gear. First standing with bound wrists and gagged mouths, and looking slightly with Isaac following them, with regard settling on Stu and his other and in and then thing on a diet of cocaine. Will managed way as he could feel scream. Will bind the girls together and struck against his girl down the step room. That was just enough to distract from her before Will even had the chance to react. Put me down, motherfucker. Girl said, before I fucking shoot you. Will was moving to oblige her. He could feel the burrow pushing into his stomach, but at the like going dumb. Okay, he bumped her off of his shoulder, then driving her to her shoulder, crunching, ugh, and pistol flying from her hands, and her neck, but collided with the neck down, making a sound that reminds Will of separating chicken bone. My God. Oh, it's so cringy. Oh my God, chicken bone in impossible angle. The girls tied to the pole watched her slide to the bottom, then began violently thrusting against their restraint what restraints and attempting off the floor next to the cord attached to a light girls to in the darkness. Jason was was waiting for, but there was there was so was but there was some new damage to nose was his nose was still bleeding too, but just looking at his stupid smile had Will want to smash him, even with his injuries, but want to do much worse thing. Did it with is in my pocket. As hard as it was not to just shoot Chris and leave, that would have been the end of it. And the real Alex would always be a mystery said. Sirens, at least not Chet and Will, was happy for that small of luck. They presumed to conceal because the hand because the hand under the jacket was pushed into Chris's back. Drive said Jason. I drove the Camry off another turn and was back onto a mix of residents, yeah, residencies and businesses. The adrenaline from being in the house was starting to wear off, and Will's realization that he shot a man was starting to weigh on him. The girl was different somehow. Yeah, the girl was different somehow. Not not his fault. Even if he had bounced her off the steps, she had been ready to shoot him, and with her wrists bound together they were, the bullet could have gone anywhere. All she had to do was let me get her downstairs, thought Will, though he had not yet let his mind decide what Jason's plan for the fate of the girls might be. After all, the girls had seen their faces. This is a waste. This is a waste of time, motherfuckers. Said Chris. No no swagger in his voice, just ice. I'm not going to give you shit. And that money, other than the few G's that idiot Mumbo just had to have, is long gone. The real check is yet to come. So you boys missed motherfucking payday by a hot minute. You think this is about the money you stole? Will said from the front seat. Anger unsuppressed his voice. Is this about my son? This Will said from the front seat, anger unsuppressed in his voice. This is about my son Alex. Oh shit, said Chris. All bravado gone finally. You ain't after money at all, is you? Well, said Jason, some of us wouldn't mind finding your score, but this is more about getting in a long night. Put it like that, just ask anyway. I'll Alex was a friend of mine. He was a cold motherfucker. A good dude too, but you said you his father, no offense, but I some drunk ass writer. No offense, Mumbo tell you I shot him. Yes, said Will. See, now that's the problem these days. Opined Chris. Mumbo was about to die either way, and you had y'all. I'm not playing. You at least have you at least have to hurt him. I hurt him very. Hey, not judging it. Sometimes that's you had to put the screws to him a little bit. Dude was always a little soft. Why did you shoot up the bank? Jason asked. Shot that dude, and it happens. But the thing is, happened. None of that happened because of money. There was a smoke screen. You're going to want to be careful we go any further on that shit though. Even by just coming after me, you guys have thrown your hat into some nasty shit. And seeing as how I'm expecting to hear from my man soon, I have a bad feeling some of this shit get stuck might get stuck to your shoes too. Now, before you come back and tell me that you're not worried about some punk motherfucker like me, you need to know that just because you got the drop on Mumbo, which was probably just luck, and the drop on me, guys got a chance with the big man. He'll chew you up and spit out a bunch of crushed crushed bones. Jason chuckled. It wasn't luck that led us. I mean, it wasn't luck that let us get the jump on you. It was plain odd cockiness on your part and nothing else. You should have been sitting with your friend armed and waiting for something like this to happen. And you should have been with Mumbo. To Isaac, he said, This is this is far enough drive back to the house. Chris piped up. Man, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We've been sitting tight as two nuts in a sack, waiting for some shit like this to happen. Hey, check it out, said Isaac. It's all ice age snow, and now it's raining. That's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts crazy, said Jason. Chris, I want to know who this guy is and what exactly you were really doing at that bank. If it wasn't for money, then why did you pick that spot, and why did you shoot Alex if he was such a good friend? I'm really having a hard time with some of it, mostly because it all sounds like total BS. It happened like this. My boys and I got to eat, right? So when the job comes along, it sounds like something that some of my boys and I can do without causing us too much shit. We I was initially very high on. It sounded like a high risk thing, and everybody knows that all that guys, the FBI, especially to keep people like me from doing the dirty on them, coming and strapped and just taking that shit. Anyways, my man Jeff, he has he's oh anyway, my man Jeff, he says that this job isn't like that, and I'm not supposed to share that shit with anybody, especially not the guys doing the job with me. I remember asking him why, and he said he would try and set up a meeting with me and the dude who wanted the shit done. So I said, cool. Anyways, Jeff called back the same day, just later that night. I had just smoked out and I was feeling good about shit, especially if we could get the job. I knew that Mumbo was getting hard up, and it had been a little while since we had a score that wasn't just nickel and dime BS. My so when my phone rang and I saw it was Jeff. I had a and I saw that it was Jeff. I, and Jeff said that he had talked to this dude and we could meet. I asked him when he thought that might be, and he asked if I was about Rob's. I mean, and he asked if I was at Rob's or Mumbo and Alex's house. I don't know how he knew I wasn't at Mom's. Maybe he could tell I was high. Mom doesn't play that ish for a uh, for a minute. Oh, for a minute, but she'll take money I make off of doing stuff a lot worse than just selling dope. Sort of fucked up when you think about it. I told him I told him I was at Mumbo and Alex's, and he said that a car would be there to pick me up in an hour. I was like, oh shit, a car. It all seemed fancy as hell to me. I've 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 worked with and for a lot of motherfuckers, but nobody ever just says, Nobody ever just says, I'll send a car for you. That's like getting off a plane and seeing a nigga in a suit holding a sign with your name on it. Big time shit, I told Mumbo and Alex that some guy was sending a car over so that I could talk to him about their job. Their their eyes got all big like I expected. Big time shit, I just act like it was no big deal, but I figured if they had money to come get me in a car, they might have real money. They might have real money. Make this a real score, not just a job to tide me over for a month or two. Ask any cop and ask any cop mistakes come in volume and crime. Usually not just in one job unless you're a fucking idiot. that was that was making me nervy. We were pulling all these little jobs just to get right when fewer bigger jobs were what we needed. So I'm looking out the window and this car pulls up, black and black, all black windows, no logos, anything, no logos anywhere on it. I mean, I'm sure it was just a regular car with perks, boosted boosted engine, bulletproof glass, maybe solid rubber tires, but that thing was fucking awesome. My crew, guys my age, we all want like like a bright orange Camaro on dubs, something flashy, make girl make girls want to get a ride, make other dudes want what you got. This was gangster, but like a grown up gangster. It was bad as a motherfucker. I got off that couch I got off that couch, said later on Mumbo and Alex. Later to Mumbo and Alex and walked outside. I had such a good feeling about it. I didn't even bring a heater, and I always stay strapped. When I got outside, a dude was standing next to the car wearing a suit and shit, and he opened the door for me. I got in the back seat, and there was a dude sitting there with weird makeup on his face. Looked like he passed out, and somebody had hit him up with a sharpie. Oh my god. He hands me a black bag and says real slowly in fucked up English, put on your head. Put on your head. I wanted to say something, but that motherfucker magic marker, face or not, was seriously kind of tripping me out. So I just put the bag on my head like he told me to. We drove for a while. I don't know how long. I should have kept track by counting, I guess, but it's not like it really mattered. I was going somewhere and I was going to do whatever the dude I was supposed to meet said to do. I didn't feel like a bad big big bad ass. I didn't feel like a big badass anymore. I was scared, and something about that dude's marker face was sticking in my head sideways, like I knew what it was, but couldn't quite get my brain wrapped around it. Finally, the car stopped. I heard the door open, and somebody yanked me out of the car and pulled me to pulled me to my feet. I still had the hood on, and it was nice to be out of the car. The dude in back with me didn't smell the best. I didn't notice it at first, but the longer I was back there, the smell came through my hood, and the only thing I can think to compare that shit to is death. That dude smelled like a corpse. That's just all there is to it. Some some I'm out. I mean, so I'm out of the car and walking with a hand not on my back but sort of hovering over it. I heard a door open and it's loud as fuck. At that point, I was trying to take in anything I could, but that was definitely a steel door, a heavy one, and a steel door frame. I could feel the temper change. Oh, I could feel the temperature change. So so I knew I was inside. I could plus I could see I was walking on indoor cement now. There was no slush or snow. Then they took the hood off of me. The first thing I saw was a fucking machine gun. It was pointed at my face a couple of inches away tops. The guy holding it was wearing a bandana over his face and had his hood pulled up, but it looked like he had some of that marker shit on his face too. I just stared right down that barrel while some other dude frisked me. When he was done, he said something in Spanish, but the dude with the machine gun lowered it so that it was pointed at my chest, sort of an improvement, but not really. The guy with a gun is staring at me down and is staring me down and finally starts nodding his head, and then he says sig sig sigumi sigumi I don't know, and starts walking away from me. The dude who was frisking me pushing a gun starts pushing a gun into my back, and I was like, okay, cool, follow machine gun guy. He he walks through another steel door and gestures for me to come on in. I do, and the guy who was behind me stays in the first room, so it's just me and the other guy. He motions it. He motions at a chair. It had some dried blood on it, but I tell myself not to worry. they were going to weigh they were going to way too much trouble just to kill me. I sit down and machine gun guy stands by a door opposite of the one who came into the room through I mean came into the room, yeah, threw the gun across his chest. That door opens and machine gun guy leaves and I was alone. A few minutes later, another guy comes in. He's got a suit on, but there was tattoos all over his face. He almost looks like he was a masked one. There's a big M over half of it and a and a big S over the other side. He had the toilet cartilage cartilage I don't know cut off of his ears, and there was a scar across his throat, like somebody had almost killed this fucker, but he lived somehow. He uh, he looks at he looks at me and says in perfect English, "How are you doing, Chris?" "I'm doing fine," I said. "What can I help you with, Mr.?" "My name does not matter. Nothing about this matters except for what I'm about to tell you. If you can do this job, I will make you rich. If you fail, you will die. If you say no today, my man will come back in here and kill you. There will be nothing you can do about it. Are we clear?" "Yes, sir." "Good. I need a job done on February 18th. I need you to rob Great Lakes Credit Union branch for 21. Yeah, for 21, I want it to look like a regular robbery. I want you to take money and say scary things. I want it to be clean, but if you need to kill people, get get me what I want. The only other thing I care about besides this looking like a regular robbery that got nasty is that you open safety deposit box number 1138 and take its and take its contents. One more I mean, one, no one, I'm sorry, no one is to know about this besides from you. The contents of that box are going to be there day, on that day alone, and I need what's in that box. If one of your partners finds out that you have taken something from that box, you must die. You must kill him. If all of your partners find that you took from this box, you must kill all of them. I do not care if they do not know what was in that box, but if they so much as mention it, they must die. If you. Oh, okay, so. Okay. If you think there is a possibility that they know about it, they have to die. There is no recognition I mean, there is no negotiation term. No. Yeah, I guess. Oh, I mean, there's no negotiating this. Perhaps you kill them just to make sure I think you take care. Oh, perhaps you kill them just to make sure I think you take care of business. That's fine with me. But Chris, if I find out that one of them knows and you do not kill them, you die a bad way. You don't want that. I don't want that. You don't want that. I don't want that. I just want what's in that box. And I want that to be between you and me. No one from my crew knows, just you and just me. If you see what's in the box, you put that thought out of your mind. You make it all the way gone. You see it if you have to, like if it is not packaged, but then you forget you ever see. Understand? Yeah, y'all hope we almost finished this fucking part. This is the longest fucking part. If you think I saw what was in that box, I said, then I die bad way. Yes, Chris. This the yes, Chris, the guy said, and he looked sad when he said it, like he knew he was putting me in a bad spot. I couldn't say no because then I died right away. I couldn't tell anybody on my crew the truth. I mean, no one would do a job like that, no matter how much money it was worth. I just had to act like I set up a branch of stuff myself based on a tip I had a tip, all right, and it was going to get us all killed. I just knew it. They'd been back at the house, and and Alex, I mean, they'd been back at the house in Isaac's Park Camry for about 5 minutes as Chris finished the story. Will had a hard time believing it, but it all made sense. The wind was howling and battered, and battering rain at them while they sat in the car. Will could feel the gun in his jacket, the one the girl had tried to take away, and realized just how tired he was. Like someone had been showing scrapping. I mean, like someone had been slowly scraping the life from him, and was just now letting him know what they'd been up to. So you hooked up with MS. So you hooked up with MS-13, said Jason. You said you just. You said had said Jason, you should you should have to just you should have just said no and let me kill you and let them kill you. I know, said Chris, but it's too late for that. Come on, let's get back in the house. The law ain't coming, Jason said it with mullets, but Will but Will could hear something else in his voice, and Will was pretty sure what he was hearing was fear. If Jason is scared, then what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Running away? Will Will tried to ignore the thought, push it away like it had never happened. He got out of the car following Isaac, Jason, and Chris across the street. The rain was falling like mad now, slow snow disappearing from the lawns like a magic trick, lightning crashing, thunder rumbling like the weather could somehow understand the fix they were in. Jason Woods MS-13 Isaac's eggs as they walked. Jason, still walking forward, replied MS-13 started in El Salvador. Oh yeah, MS-13. That's a that's definitely a gang, a fucking Mexican gang. Yeah, in El Salvador, they're the kind of gang that other gangs are scared of. They're brutal and very effective. They favor tattoo faces and machetes. Oh yeah, MS-13 they be chopping motherfuckers, everything. They carry big ass machetes. Yeah, you don't want to beef with no MS-13. Nobody from MS-13. They will chop your ass up, stab you the fuck up. It's crazy. Um, and they're supposed to be scared of nothing. I read once about how they even had their own language so they could communicate secretly in prison. Fuckhead, fuckhead here got lucky too. Worse, he'll see from us in something quiet. Of course, he could get lucky. Keep saying what I want to hear. How those dudes, they'll they'll put his dick off. They'll cut his dick off and feed it to him. Pull his tongue through his throat. Wrap him in what? Yeah, wrap him in tires. What? Coat him in gas and let him burn. I forgot that part. They're famously creative. Open the door. Chris Chris obliged him, opening the door and walking into the house, but not rushing, knowing that to try and get away from Jason would just mean a bullet in the back. So, what now? Will asks. Well, we're going to see to your man here, and then I'm going to ice the girls in the basement. After that, we're going to leave and hope that we can forget any of this ever happened. Yeah. Hey, said Will. Somebody turned off the music. Hey, said Will. Somebody turned off the music. Jason threw Chris hard. The kid bounced over a coffee table, landing face first in the piss that was, oh my god, part that was partially soaked into the couch. Ew. Time to go, guys, said Jason. Right now, go. It was too late. Oh, that was it, y'all. All right, y'all. That's the last part to that. That was like the longest part I read. We're This is the side that we got finished. It's the side that we got through. So yeah, we almost finished the book, guys. And I folded on the page that I'll be starting from the next time we read. So yeah, y'all. This is a very interesting book. You know, Rough Men. If you wanna go find that book, I think it may be in a library, or I don't know, library or Barnes and Noble, wherever you can find a book. You can go try to find this book, or you can probably order it off of Amazon or somewhere. I don't really know because I don't remember where I got this book from. But so yeah, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with any and everybody. Let them know what your girl is doing on this channel. It's your girl, Big Nique TV, the authentic Nique, the unique of the game. The unique, the authentic, unique, the goofy, unique, neat, shorty, neat. Hey, it's your girl, and I'm out, babies. Whew.